bigger word.
It's really somebody that attacks the establishment.
People that have created something are a visionary in their field.
Those who came to basically break up the status quo.
Someone who is truly unforgettable and you just can't get enough of.
An example for all of us to be inspired by.
Grey Goose Entertainment and Sundance Channel teamed up to produce Iconoclasts, a new series that goes inside the creative inspirations of today's most innovative personalities.
One of the hallmarks of Sundance Channel is discovery. One of the things you'll see in this series is the discovery of people who are quite well known to the world, but who are opening themselves up to an audience in a different way.
We want to be able to take the opportunity to expose unique work and unique individuals to the general public in a way that's never been done before. And as long as we can partner with someone like Sundance, we believe that the way it's brought to life is going to be truly unique.
Iconoclasts brings together some really interesting pairings of very different and distinct, innovative people to really talk about their passions.
This week's Iconoclast pairing, Brian Grazer on Sumner Redstone.
Brian Grazer is a rock star producer. His movies have grossed, a gazillion dollars, and Sumner Redstone built this incredible media empire.
When it was proposed that I could interview Sumner Redstone, I was just kind of over the moon. But in the preceding days, I started to feel terror.
Here are guys who make a lot of money, and just to see that kid-like nervousness about the task at hand.
He owns, he's the leading shareholder and CEO of a company called Viacom. Hold on.
It's inspiring to hang out with incredibly accomplished people and realize they're just like you and me.
You've engendered such loyalty. I mean, I said,
You know how
Tom
you get
Preston,
loyalty? By giving loyalty, particularly if a person is in some kind of trouble.
You really learn a couple of really basic things about success. You have to be really passionate about what you do, and a little luck and timing helps.
And now, Iconoclasts. Brian Grazer on Sumner Redstone.
Sumner Redstone was in a real life or death situation.
I was trapped in a fire. I got to a window and I crawled out. It was a tiny ledge.
And he hung from the side of a building with most of his body burned.
I was supposed to die that night. We will create an $80 billion giant.
Broadcast, cable television, feature films. Our future is without limits.
And I guess when you survive things like that, it makes you really, really, really strong. Hey, John, how you doing?
All right, Brian, how you doing?
The motor for my being
What's happening?
is curiosity and discovery. So I wake up every morning kind of curious about stuff. I've been able to make every movie I've wanted to. I haven't always got the exact result that I've fantasized about. Will you open the door for us? I have a code to get into my office, which I can never remember. Well, anything that's worth doing, you have to commit 100%. But that doesn't mean it's gonna work 100%. Being challenged will always give you strength. Complacency would be the singular thing that won't give you strength. You're just stuck in neutral. I'm good, how are you? You know why I'm calling. I just don't want to be stuck in neutral.
A lot of people have the idea that to succeed in business, you have to be cruel, merciless. It's not true. I am relentless. I am obsessive. but I do not go for the jugular.
Unless John Malone says core TV can live, it doesn't live.
You have to win, though, because it's not about money. It's about winning.
Sumner and Viacom are of one. Whatever he were to think or feel or touch can become a reality because it will filter into the system of MTV and VH1 and BET, Paramount Pictures and CBS. They have so many assets that are really vital.
I don't consider myself a mogul. I consider myself a hardworking, relatively successful businessman. Anyone had even remotely suggested where I would be today, I would consider it fantasy. I was raised in a tenement, originally in Boston, called the West End. It was very tough.
And he's a man that grew up in a very poor place, single room without a toilet. And his life was hard.
I can still visualize my father with a roll of linoleum on his shoulder, going out to support his family. My early memories of my mother was that she was intense on education. I used to take piano lessons, and if I was supposed to practice for a half hour, she'd sneak in and move the clock back. She drove me.
He's just so smart. He was the best speller in America. He's genetically gifted.
I don't know how much of it is genetic and how much was my mother, but she certainly was on the right track. That education is everything. I went to Boston Latin School, which was the most competitive environment in which I ever existed. Competence was the only thing that counted, not race, not gender, not color, but competence.
Sumner was picked out of Harvard while he was undergraduate because the Pentagon and the government realized that he had this almost savant-like skill. He was a code breaker and was tremendously effective during World War II. It's clear that he's focused. I think he well researches everything. I want to know how does he process that through a filter and make big decisions, like buying Viacom.
Buying Viacom was radical. Buying Paramount was very radical. If you don't want to succeed, you just do what everyone does. If you want to succeed, you have to take chances, take risks. And I've always been a risk taker.
We're not talking about yesterday. We're talking about today.
Gentlemen, we thank you very much for your appearance here today.
He's a tough, scrambling, resourceful survivor. It's all fueled or fortified with this giant power to win. But he has no intention to intimidate you. He wants your ideas. He wants you to feel safe.
We're in Grazer's office.
We made a movie together. I know, I know. I've produced about 65 movies, I think. What a producer does is they are the ones that locate the book or find the single sentence that excites them. Well, these are movies I love. It's a Grinch, became the highest grossing movie in America. I love Friday Night Lights. It's about high school football in Odessa, Texas. It's a movie that I produced, and Jim Whitaker, that works with me, executive produced it. It's a producer's job to be creatively and fiscally responsible to the dream of the movie. Here we have the Da Vinci Code, a movie that we have coming out early next year. You know, it was an interesting, provocative novel. Who wouldn't want to do it? I'm very proud of 8 Mile. It just seemed like the mainstream wasn't interested in hip-hop. I wanted to find a way to traverse the language of hip-hop into the mainstream. The greatest discovery was this guy, Eminem.
Your style is generic, mine's authentic made. I roll like a renegade, uniclinic aid. My technique's bizarre and ill, I scar and kill. You were a star until I served you like a bar and grill. As I proceed to cook and grill you, that's all it took to kill you. You better recognize me like I look familiar.
I was watching MTV and a camera scanned across an audience. It stayed on him for 3 or 4 seconds, but in that short 3 or 4 seconds, he went from an icy urban glare to a very self-effacing, liquid, fluid kind of person. And I thought, wow, this guy has that level of range, and I better meet him.
Hey, we've got a problem here. What did you do?
Nothing, I stirred the text.
Whoa. Hey.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
Apollo 13 was released in 1995. At the same time, Braveheart, Sumner's movie, was released. We were nominated for 9 Oscars. Every poll said we were going to win. And so I had my speech all ready, nervous as could be. And as Sidney Poitier, who was presenting that Oscar, as the B rolled off of his lip, I was convinced that B was Brian. And I was getting out of my seat, and it was Braveheart, Sumner's film. And Jim Lovell, who was sitting right next to me in the 3rd row, grabbed me by the shoulder and said, I never made it to the moon either. All movies, even if they're successful, have some little disappointment.
You should not have won. I had the first move. My play was perfect.
The hubris of the defeated. The game is flawed. Gentlemen, the great John Nash.
A Beautiful Mind, that one ended really well for me. That one had no disappointment. It took a long time to get it and get it right, and we ended up winning Oscars, and I had a fantasy as a child of that happening, and it happened. When it was proposed that I could interview Sumner Redstone, I was flattered and excited and just kind of over the moon. But in the preceding days prior to this moment, I started to feel terror. I have the dry mouth fear of being face to face with someone that directly has so much power over me. Producers and writers and directors all grow up with the system having power over you. And he's a boss of the system. And I gotta use my inhaler, I'm getting nervous. What if I get a brain freeze? I guess I'd like to ask him what gives him strength. Really get to the root of what he would say gave him consistent success. I wish he were interviewing me. It'd be easier. I can answer my own questions. My career started at Paramount Pictures, and they actually kicked me off the lot. They took my parking and kicked me off the lot and tried to terminate my deal. But I rallied everybody. I rallied a bunch of television people that called the boss at the time, and they had to extend me and reinstate me on the lot. I was doing television, but TV, there were only 3 major networks. And I just thought, I'm gonna get kicked out of TV because there's only 3 people that have to either like you or dislike you, and I'd alienated 2 of them. So I thought, this is not the business for me. It's a monopoly, I'll get kicked out. So I started writing the movie Splash, about a man falling in love with a mermaid, right here on the Paramount lot.
Brian Grazer gave a party for Brad Gray, the new head of the Paramount studio. I was there, but I first met Brian. And since then, we've become very close social friends. Everyone said at the start, what the hell is that guy doing? Now they're saying, this guy was ahead of the curve.
No kidding. He bought Viacom in 1987. Inside of Viacom was MTV. Everybody said, sell MTV. It was just a fad. And I'd love to know why he didn't sell MTV when everyone said, sell MTV.
My instincts told me that MTV was more than a
fad,
was more than a music channel, that it was cultural, that it was generational, and that it would fly. So it was a fad in 1987 to Wall Street. It's in 400 million households today.
Jeez.
So follow your own instincts.
Instinct is intangible. Anytime you have to bet on an actor, you're taking a giant leap of faith. I've had to pick actors that haven't been movie stars. And I've had to say, I feel something so powerful that I'm willing to let Tom Hanks, who is the actor on Bosom Buddies, be the star of my most important and really first film, which is Splash. I had to believe in Daryl Hannah or Meg Ryan's first job or Mark Wahlberg. There are many people that can create screen impact, men and women.
I'm going to have you bring your arm back over here. This hand, sir, is going to go right over here like that.
All right, so is this it? Okay.
Don't move a cell again.
That's perfect.
That's good.
We get tape.
Let's go.
His measurement of success is not materially driven. He told me he's been buying suits off the rack up until just a few years ago.
Then people said to me, you know, Sumner, you don't look the way you should. And only in recent years have I started having my suits made.
I remember coming to the screening of Forrest Gump. I came to, it was right here, and you were here. And you said to me, what do you think it'll do? And I said a number, and you said 100 more than that, and you were right. And it was huge. It was
huge.
Did like $330 million.
Well, that was, you know, worldwide more. If you want to succeed, you have to take chances. If I had failed at Viacom, I would have been bankrupt.
I do public things, and you can win and be proud, or you can fail and and have sort of catastrophic thoughts. Failure involves, in movies, a public thing that's measured publicly that can freak you out. You could panic and feel you're going to be abandoned. And now that's what happens in surfing. I surf, and when waves just keep hitting you, all the water is being churned around, and you're under the water for a long time. If you panic, you have about 3 to 5 seconds of oxygen. If you're calm, you have 45 to 60 seconds. I've learned this. So all I have to do is stay calm, get whacked around, surrender, and I'll survive. Panic is when people die. So I have to try to make sure I'm not in the latter category.
Sundance Channel exclusive series.
Each of us has a chance to be somebody.
The best in independent television.
Millions of insignificant people doing a tiny bit can add up to a very significant force.
Intimate.
I tend to write more simple chords on guitar.
Insightful.
I'm actually nervous about Singer.
Intriguing.
If Buddha were alive today, he'd be playing bass guitar in the Strokes.
Inspiring. In your home.
Anything we can do to nurture the environment is something I'm very interested in.
In your heart.
How can I ever say I'm sorry?
In your mind.
I'm just a little boy. How can I be man of the house?
Sundance Channel exclusive series. Independent television you won't find anywhere else. Sundance Channel. For a change. Grey Goose Entertainment and Sundance Channel present Iconoclasts. The groundbreaking series returns. Every week, take an unprecedented look at two creative visionaries.
It's not about doing risky things, but feeling life while you're living it.
It's provocative.
One of the things my dad always said is, nothing's so bad that can't be laughed at.
It's personal.
It's not because you're paid to do it. It's because it's you.
Iconoclasts. Change the way you see celebrity. Premieres October 25th at 10. Presented by Grey Goose Entertainment, only on Sundance Channel.
Hello? I'm not influenced by a crowd on an idea. I don't ask executives, I don't ask anybody, hey, is this a good idea? They're in London, I don't know where to go. I'm in Malibu, I don't know what to do. I believe that with writers, it's the first few minutes of what they have to say is exactly what they're gonna write. People actually leave wherever they're going to go to Malibu. I've convinced writers of my choices and my direction, and I've overwhelmed them and overpowered them, but they never write any of that. Actors, you feel it or you don't, and a lot of it is here. Are you interested in what they're thinking? I mean, really interested in what they're thinking. So maybe I'll think of something. With directors, any director that dresses too well, I don't hire. I think they lack compassion, probably. Directors are mostly only supposed to be thinking about the characters and people around them, not about themselves. It's not about their narcissism. Now look, there's always an exception, but I haven't found one yet. Okay, great. Thanks, bye. Where do you want us? Right here?
That's fine.
Sumner's character is that it's not only is he tremendously brilliant by having a vision of what Viacom is today, but everybody that works for Sumner Redstone has great character too and has been with him a long time. There's only a few people in the industry, maybe only one in the case of Sumner, that created their family empire.
What I look for in people are commitment, competence, and character. Without character, commitment and competence are not relevant.
He's not petty with his loyalty towards people, always in the big picture, and he's not petty when he's at war with somebody. He doesn't go after the little things. He's always focused on the big thing. You've engendered such loyalty. I mean, I said,
you know how you get
Preston,
loyalty? By giving loyalty. By giving loyalty and support, particularly if a person is in some kind of trouble. I mean, it's easy to support somebody
when everything's roses, right? Yeah.
When a person needs your support is when they have made a mistake, everybody does, or there's some kind of problem. And when you do that, you inspire loyalty to you. We had a picture, it was about the apes. What the hell was the name?
Congo.
Congo. So I had just come into the company, and Sherry said, I have to tell you, Sumner, this thing is a disaster. I'm going to try to fix it. So I said to her, Sherry, you picked a good director, you picked a good book, you have my confidence, no matter what happens. And she says, after that, I would have followed Sumner into fire.
The valuable tenets in Sumner's foundational life and what he finds compatible to his business is trust and loyalty, and I too find those things to be great traits in my partner, Ron Howard.
Brian produces these movies, and when I'm directing, you know, he lets me put my name on it, so that if this kind of thing happens, I'm in on it. And this is about the partnership.
Ron and I have been partners for, I think, 25 or 26 years. I was a television producer, Ron was a television actor, but basically we were two people aspiring to be things that we weren't. I was trying to be a mainstream movie producer, he was trying to be a mainstream film director, so it was two unemployed guys hiring each other.
People who are successful and good at what they do are not arrogant.
I love doing, but he's a
Brian has a certain kind of charisma and dynamism about him, but it's soft. It's not arrogant. I'll tell you what makes a movie, not the stars.
I agree with you.
The script.
The script and the which embodies the idea, of course, right?
Because the play is the thing, as Shakespeare said.
Yes.
Without a good script, no way you can make a good movie.
Right.
And you may have heard the story how I went to a screening of Star Wars, and I walked across the street, and I bought 25,000 shares of 20th Century Fox.
Oh my God.
And a lot of people didn't like the picture. I saw it as a major winner.
This is Martha Quinn on MTV Music Television, where we keep it rocking 24 hours every day.
Do you think there was a moment in time on MTV that anyone challenged you or second-guessed you that you can remember today that made you think, God, maybe I should have? Was there any?
No.
Or, no, you just go straight forward.
I know, look, only 4% of the world's eyeballs are in the United States. And that's why I've been relentlessly driving our businesses all over the world. Because 96% of the people are all over the world.
Right. I mean, a universal truth probably is that kids, all kids want to be cool, right?
Well, I guess, I don't know.
Don't you think they want to watch and do and...
Well, if they're smart,
whatever cool is.
Whatever cool is. You know, people are essentially the same everywhere. And I always said that a kid in Tokyo could empathize more with the kid in New York than with his parents.
MTV brand that constantly, the intellectual
Evolves.
content keeps changing.
Right. You know, today, the ratings of MTV are not created by music. They're created by the other programming. Originally, it was just a music channel. It's much more today.
Right.
I control Midway Games. I think every company ultimately is going to want to own a game company. Why not? You're in the entertainment business, why not be in the fastest growing part of the entertainment business?
The game business for you is a new passion.
It's a new passion.
And it's the biggest growing business in the entertainment family right now.
And that's why I'm so much involved with Midway Games. It grows 3 times the rate of television. I mean, it's addictive. They're not watching television. They're not going to the movies. They're not listening to music. They're absorbed with playing a game.
I actually read a book recently about games, written by a sociologist, saying they open up neural corridors in your brain, I'm sure you know this, that you wouldn't ordinarily have available to you if you didn't play interactive games. So they're intellectually nourishing.
I mean, think they are.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to my house. He was interested in going to my art studio because I paint. So you'll see I'm not a great artisan, but I like touching the materials. It's very workmanlike.
I've always found the entertainment industry to be very exciting, to have a lot of allure. There's always something new happening in the business, whether it be movies or television or whatever.
My house is interesting. It was owned and built before Gregory Peck, and so it has a certain romantic history about it. Underneath this lawn, I have a big guest house, actually. It's about...
Underneath, down below?
Yeah, underneath this guest house. I won't put you down there, but it's basically...
Oh, I see.
I have about 11,000 feet that goes... 11,000-foot guest house.
Really?
It was hard to find a 4-acre house in this neighborhood, but I did. It was just looked like a piece of junk when I bought it. I redid it, and I turned the grounds into almost like a camp or forest. So over here, you'll see my art studio. This is funny, isn't it?
You did this?
So I paint all this stuff.
Oh, that's terrific. But you know, it's an interesting thing. I find that creative people, usually you're creative in more than one way. And you know, I talk about Tony Bennett, who's a great friend.
Yeah.
But he's a great painter. My house is filled with his paintings that he's given me.
Jeez. I come in here at 10 o'clock at night and paint till 1 in the morning. And this is just a room, and I like to play with these materials, put my hands in them.
But these are wonderful.
And I do Barbies. I paint Barbies, oddly enough. This is more of a classic Barbie. And then I do all-girl bands. Or I paint women against personals, or I blow these personals up so the personals seem benign. They seem like, oh, it's party time, or lipstick. But underneath the lipstick, in the fine print, is something that's very sexual.
You like women?
I like women.
So you paint women?
I paint women.
This is kind of interesting, this one. What is
Well, you see, you like that. You know why you like that?
I like it, yes.
War thing. It's basically Khrushchev. And it's coming in as a comet. I made this little installation. IHOP is, International House of Pancakes. When I was going to USC, I wanted everybody to believe that I had some money. So I worked at the International House of Pancakes at night.
Right.
And like 40, 50 hours a week so that I could buy a Porsche. And with this Porsche, I pretended I came from a good family. I was one of those guys that could talk my way into almost any job, but couldn't keep it for longer than a day. I caught the movie bug based out of survival. I'd meet a new person every day in the business. I would start with assistants and then their assistants and just work my way into family members, whatever it took. There was nothing I wouldn't do to meet with someone. But when I found myself completely out of work, I realized really bringing pen to a piece of paper was going to be my future. I have a bunch of things that I've won, and Golden Globes and Emmys and Oscars and stuff.
These are all a tribute to Brian. They are. These are all awards he's won. He's won everything there is.
Ideas are still, for me, the basis of everything. I'm pretty much unrelenting if I believe in a particular idea. I mean, look, the first movie that I produced was a movie about a mermaid, and everyone thought that was kind of ridiculous. But ultimately found great writers, Lowell Ganson, Bob Lou Mandel, and they turned it into what was, I think, a very good movie. And I felt great sort of exhilaration and almost immortality almost in that moment, because I was young. I got nominated for an Oscar. The movie did well. It was based on an idea of mine. And then I had a movie that I wanted to make right after Splash, and I thought, well, everyone's going to say yes to me because look what just happened. And sure enough, they didn't. They said no. But then I looked across the street and I saw that Steven Spielberg, who had already directed Jaws and Close Encounters and I think Raiders, he was having E.T. put into turnaround. And they're saying no to him for that. And I realized, wow, this isn't personal at all. I just knew you have to just stick with your ideas, your beliefs. People say no, and I still try to charge up that mountain. I go to your fish store, right? Come on, let's go.
How are you today? Arthur is the #1 fish getter in the world. The collection of fish in my house, I basically did myself. I find just looking at the fish mesmerizing and relaxing. I know every person who runs an aquarium around Los Angeles.
Mr. Redstone been a customer here for 3.5 years.
Those are pineapple fish. I lose all the pineapple.
Mr. Redstone actually knows more about fish than a lot of fish store owners.
That's another very expensive fish. Is that $399?
Yeah, sure, and I get them and they die and have to buy them again. Terrible, but I know
I'm sorry about that.
Well, you should be sorry about it.
Yeah.
What do you got today?
You got him a gift.
New trunk fish that nobody has. Sir.
Which one?
Right there.
I have one just like that.
Exactly, but that's completely different.
I have a blue one like that one. Yes, I do.
Yeah?
Can't sell it to me. Now, I've always said, and I still believe, that the only good deal is a good deal for both sides. I'm still waiting for him to get me a blue devil.
They're coming from Australia, sir.
I know, but where is it? Because one never knows what the future holds. Actually, if it weren't for me, he would be out of business. I pay his rent.
Yes, sir, except today.
Except today.
Grey Goose Entertainment and Sundance Channel present Iconoclasts. The groundbreaking series returns. Every week, take an unprecedented look at two creative visionaries.
It's not about doing risky things, but feeling life while you're living it.
It's provocative.
One of the things my dad always said is, nothing's so bad that can't be laughed at.
It's personal.
It's not because you're paid to do it. It's because it's you.
Iconoclasts. Change the way you see celebrity. Premieres October 25th at 10. Presented by Grey Goose Entertainment, only on Sundance Channel. This Friday on an all-new Midnight Snack.
Morven Collar is the second feature from the brilliant Scottish director, Lynn Ramsay. She once again brings her photographer's eye to every frame of this slowly expanding fable of Morven, a young supermarket worker from the west coast of Scotland, who, finding her boyfriend has committed suicide, claims authorship of the novel he's left behind and goes off on a spree with her best friend to Ibiza. As you do. Morven Collar.
This Friday on an all-new Midnight Snack.
Only on Sundance Channel.
Tonight at 9, it's a Doc Day premiere.
The inspirational story of a single mother struggling to buy into the American dream. But is there really no place like home? Premieres tonight at 9.
It's Doc Day on Sundance Channel.
Is this my entire list, Brad? Oh, wow, okay. Now, this is a list in alphabetical order of all the people that I've met. Well, the more successful you become, it's just a little bit easier. You have more tools to get to the place you want to be. So, the more successful I've become, the more interesting people I got to meet quicker. Science, medicine, politics, religion, theology. Here they are, all my memories of people. I live on lists. Actors and directors and writers, you need lists. And I get lists. I need to know all of the writers that are available and that could theoretically be compatible. And then I pick a name that wasn't on the list, and I say, why wasn't that name on the list? I met the guy that created firewalking. That was pretty early on. There's so many people, my God. I met a lot of noble artists. I bring up Jonas Salk a lot because he was so extraordinary. Because I'm sort of a genius groupie myself. Did I meet Emily Post or Peggy Post? Geniuses, they have a magical power. And I like getting inside of their process. And it's exciting to talk to geniuses.
There could be a mathematical explanation for how bad your tie is.
Thank you. Movies are about images, and images are designed to make you feel, not think. Thinking is supposed to be second with movies. I make movies only for myself. Every idea that becomes a movie is just something that I personally, my taste is gravitated towards. So there isn't any science to it. It just feels right. The team that worked at Imagine know that I'm really hard on myself. I don't think I'm very good at giving instruction. You know, I don't think I'm that guy. If we win, I like getting the pats on the back. If we lose, I always take responsibility. If I lose money for someone, I write the chairman a note and say, I'm sorry for losing money.
People who really are successful, including the people whom I know who run all the major companies, we're all friends, although we're sometimes adversaries. None of them take themselves too seriously. It's the people who have not succeeded, not everyone, of course, but some, who feel that they've missed it. But the people who succeed and have confidence in themselves are not arrogant people.
I do have certain axioms and tenets that govern the different components of my life. There are rules that I try not to ever violate. Never yell at anyone ever, never. And in business, I never ever tell anyone that I'm mad at them or that they screwed me. So anyone that screwed me, I'd still give a talk, have a normal conversation, call them right back. Now, a lot of people think that's the wrong thing. They think you're supposed to talk it out, let them know, but I don't believe in that. The thing I would challenge Sumner about is that I think the root of his success is artistic, because you can't have a vision like he has without love. That love is, to me, the foundation of his success.
I happen to be an optimist. I've always said that optimism is the only philosophy that's compatible with sanity. And I would never concede I was going to lose a battle. I might, but I would never concede it. Everyone in their lives experiences failure, frustration, and sometimes calamity. And it's the way you respond to it that makes the difference.
Sumner Redstone was in a real life or death situation where he was in a hotel fire and survived that hotel fire kind of against everybody's odds. I mean, all odds.
I was supposed to die that night. What a horrible way to die. I got to a window, it wouldn't open. And then I got to another window and I crawled out. There was a tiny ledge with this hand in the fire. Well, I remember being taken to the hospital. My family was told I probably wouldn't live the night. I went through about 60 or 70 hours of burn surgery. But I did live through it. It has no sense of horror for me today. I did not change at all. My character, my priorities, my ambition, nothing changed with the fire.
Paula and Sumner met actually on a blind date. And Paula was a school teacher and was in an entirely different world than Sumner. She was living in the whole world of education and teaching, and now is the biggest part of Sumner's life.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice of you to say.
Paula has meant more to my life than any other person in my life. I don't like the phrase love at first sight, but we were clearly very much attracted to each other. We saw each other. We got married just about a couple of years ago, and we're very happy to be together. And while she is somewhat younger than I am, fortunately I don't look my age, and you know I don't act my age. I said, do you think we'd be as happy and get along as well as we do? Because all couples sometimes have issues. If instead of living in this beautiful home, we were living in a $50,000 house, and she said, wherever you are, I will be happy. And I believe her. Material things never really interested me. And that may sound jargonese or something, but it's really true. The only thing of material value that I ever owned or own is the house I bought in Los Angeles. Because it is beautiful, and I figured, well, it's about time. I know every fish in the tank. I know where it comes from. I know their names, and so on. And it's a great hobby for me.
Right.
That's called a cleaner shrimp. This is a beautiful fish. It's a wrasse. See the beautiful colors on it? That's the most expensive fish we have. It's called a conspiculatus. The other fish are all very inexpensive. That one costs a lot, $3,000.
Is it impolite to get near with the finger and all that?
No, you know, if you put your finger, sometimes they come toward
Wow,
you.
look at that fish.
Bite.
Try to
This is a
bite it.
cowfish. No.
That's
a
an
cowfish.
amazing.
Let's see the face. It looks like a cow.
So he's trying
Yeah.
to show you my favorite
Okay,
fish.
show us your.
Because I find beauty in imperfection. He's a glass
Oh,
eye,
my
but he
God.
lost his other eye, so he's blind on one side. So he always stays up in this corner to protect the eye. And then when we feed him, we hand feed him, and he eats. See?
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's mesmerizing. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. I'm on the phone. And watching the fish at the same time is relaxing. So, let
So
me
it
go on.
disengages you from the rhythm of winning.
No. I always want to...
God, you believe that? No. You said no to that.
This fish...
It doesn't, wait a minute.
What?
It doesn't disengage you from the rhythm of winning?
Oh, no, I always have
watching
to
this?
win.
Well,
But
with the
having
fish-
the best fish collection in the world is winning. I reached the conclusion that the era of the conglomerate was over. That's a giant revolutionary move. We're the first to do it. I am going to inscribe one of these and say nice things about you and give it to you.
Really?
I think I'll need my glasses because I don't want to make a mistake and misspell my name. Both, I think, will be very good companies and better divorced than together.
Hi, honey. This is Mr. Redstone. This is Thomas. This man right here, he's the leading shareholder and CEO of a company called Viacom, hold on, that has MTV and Nickelodeon. And how much do you like Nickelodeon in the morning?
A lot.
That's good. You have good taste. To Brian, a warm and generous friend, dynamic and charismatic. A man who has not let success go to his head. But most of all, a great friend, warm regards, Sumner.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I think, and this may sound strange, that my children and grandchildren will never have known the value of growing up poor. There's an advantage in not being born with a silver spoon in your mouth and having to attain by yourself everything you attain, not having it handed to you. I don't like that word legacy. It sounds like goodbye. But, you know, if you say, what would I like people to think about me? I guess I would like people to see that I was successful, that I worked hard and achieved a lot, and that basically I'm a nice guy. That's the way I'd like to be known, as a lover, not a hater.
That's great.